The sun was barely peeking over the horizon when the SEAL team moved silently through the dense jungle. Every step was calculated, every sound measured. The tension was palpable. They had trained for years for this, but something about today felt different. They had intel about a high-value target, a mission that could change the balance in the region, but the team knew better than to underestimate the enemy, or each other. Each member was hyper-aware of the others, their subtle glances and small gestures a silent language of trust and caution. The mission briefing had been precise, almost clinical. You move in, secure the perimeter, gather intel, and exfil. Minimal engagement. But as they advanced, a strange feeling settled over the squad. It wasn't fear exactly, it was anticipation, as if the jungle itself held its breath. The team's leader, Commander Harris, motioned them to halt as he noticed movement up ahead. He signaled for silence, and the team froze, blending into the shadows like specters. Through the dense foliage, a lone figure appeared. She didn't look like much at first. Slight, unassuming, almost fragile, but there was something about the way she carried herself that made Harris pause. She walked with confidence, scanning her surroundings as if she owned the place, but her eyes betrayed sharp intelligence and purpose. One of the newer SEALs whispered under his breath, "Is she alone?" The others exchanged skeptical glances. Everyone had been trained to question everything, but none of them expected what happened next. The figure stopped a few meters away, seemingly aware of their presence. Harris gestured for the team to hold, but curiosity gnawed at him. Something about her demeanor suggested she had a story, a capability, they hadn't accounted for. Then, with a calm but firm voice, she spoke. "Let me finish." There was a weight in her tone that silenced the entire squad instantly. It wasn't arrogance, nor was it fear. It was authority, command, and certainty rolled into three simple words. Every SEAL, hardened by countless missions, trained to act decisively in life and death situations, instinctively paused. The jungle seemed to hold its breath alongside them. Harris felt a strange mix of caution and intrigue. Who was this woman, and why did the team, the most elite operators in the world, hesitate at her command? The air was thick, charged with unspoken tension. She stepped closer, her movements deliberate and fluid, revealing a small but intricate device in her hands. Before anyone could react, she explained the operation, the hidden threats, the exact steps to neutralize them safely. Her knowledge was precise, beyond anything they had briefed on. The team, trained to rely on intelligence, instinctively understood the value of listening. Harris finally nodded, signaling the team to lower their weapons slightly. They were learning, not from a superior officer, but from a stranger who commanded respect with a mere sentence. By the time she finished, the SEALs were wide-eyed, not with fear, but with admiration. Her calm confidence, paired with precise knowledge, had turned the tense silence into something almost reverential. In that moment, the jungle's danger seemed secondary to the unexpected authority of a lone figure. The team followed her cautiously, moving deeper into the jungle. Every branch snapped underfoot felt amplified in the heavy silence. Harris kept glancing at her, trying to gauge her motives, but she remained focused on the path ahead, as if the dense greenery and hidden threats were nothing to her. Her movements were deliberate, her eyes scanning constantly, and every so often she would pause to point out subtle traps or weak points in the terrain. The SEALs were struck by how quickly she identified dangers they had overlooked, and how her calm, deliberate voice could turn even the most perilous situations into manageable steps. They approached a narrow clearing where satellite intel had flagged a hidden enemy encampment. The team instinctively crouched, preparing for an ambush, but she raised a hand, signaling them to stay still. She moved forward alone, speaking softly under her breath as if narrating a strategy no one else could hear. Harris realized that she wasn't just guiding them, she was orchestrating the entire approach. Every subtle gesture, every whispered instruction, was met with silent compliance. The team had never experienced anything like it. They were trained to trust each other, but now they were being asked to trust a stranger. Suddenly, a rustle in the underbrush made everyone tense. The team tensed their muscles, ready to react, but she calmly raised a finger to her lips and took a careful step toward the sound. Within moments, she had identified an enemy scout, quietly neutralizing the threat without a single shot fired. The precision, the efficiency, and the complete absence of panic left the SEALs in awe. Harris' mind raced. He had seen countless elite operatives, but none moved with such measured authority and clarity. She returned to the group and outlined the next stage of the mission, explaining the layout of the camp, the rotation of guards, and the safest paths to extract crucial intelligence. Every detail was meticulous. The SEALs listened, initially skeptical, but slowly, almost instinctively, they began to follow her lead. Each decision she made seemed calculated, backed by experience and insight far beyond anything Harris had encountered. As they advanced, the team's initial doubt transformed into respect. They moved in perfect sync, a unit guided not just by military training but by the quiet authority of someone who understood the stakes in a way that transcended standard procedures. Harris felt a strange mix of relief and admiration, relief that they were following a competent guide, admiration for the sheer confidence and skill she displayed with every command. By the time they reached the outskirts of the camp, the sun had climbed higher, casting shadows across the terrain. The team had moved undetected, neutralized threats efficiently, and gathered all the necessary intelligence. Harris realized that the mission had been saved, not by years of SEAL training or brute force, but by listening, by pausing, and by allowing someone else to finish, a lesson in humility and trust that he would not forget. The final approach to the enemy stronghold was tense. The team moved like shadows, every step calculated, every sense alert. But the woman remained calm, her focus unwavering. Harris followed her silently, feeling the weight of responsibility shift in an unexpected way. He realized that despite his years of training and leadership, the entire team was relying on her judgment in this critical moment. She stopped just beyond the tree line, signaling the SEALs to halt. From this vantage point, the entire encampment was visible, and the team could see heavily armed guards moving in predictable patterns. She crouched and traced a route with her finger on a rough sketch of the area, giving clear, concise instructions. Harris noticed the subtle authority in her tone, commanding without force, guiding without intimidation. Each SEAL absorbed her strategy, their weapons poised, nerves taut, yet there was a sense of trust that hadn't existed before. A sudden alarm rang out from the camp. The guards had spotted movement. Instinctively, the team prepared to engage, but she held up her hand and whispered, "Wait." Time seemed to stretch as they watched her assess the situation, calculating the enemy's likely reactions. Then, with fluid precision, she signaled a silent move that allowed them to bypass the alerted guards entirely, slipping past danger with an elegance that left everyone stunned. Once inside the camp, she led them directly to the location of the high-value target and the sensitive intelligence. The SEALs executed her plan flawlessly, neutralizing threats quietly and securing the information. Harris felt a mixture of awe and disbelief. He had never encountered anyone capable of holding a team of elite operators in such complete, silent respect. When the mission concluded, not a single unnecessary shot had been fired, not a single error had been made. The team gathered at the extraction point, breathing heavily but exhilarated. Harris approached her, offering a rare, genuine smile. "I have to admit," he said, "I never thought anyone could command this team the way you did." "That was remarkable." She smiled faintly, a mixture of humility and quiet confidence. "Sometimes, you just need to let the right voice finish," she replied, almost as if it were a simple truth everyone already knew, but had forgotten. As the helicopter lifted them out of the jungle, the team sat in thoughtful silence, reflecting on what had happened. Harris knew that this mission would be remembered not only for its success but for the lesson it had imparted, that listening, patience, and respect for the right guidance could achieve far more than brute force or rigid protocol. If you enjoyed this incredible story, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Her Story's Words, for more amazing tales of courage, skill, and inspiration. Don't miss out on the stories that leave you inspired and amazed. Hit that subscribe button now and be part of our journey.